In this video, we talk Shichibukai. We're gonna split the video into two parts, so let's get right into part 1. We last saw the Shichibukai getting the news about the abolition of the Shichibukai system that they were thriving in. I'm sure that everybody is most excited to see Mihawk. I feel the same way, but let's tackle each one very briefly. And start with Buggy. I'm sure that I'm not the only one that thinks that Buggy is mostly a source of comedic relief from a tension-filled chapter or episode, but I do believe that his role of taking the attention even for brief moments is very valuable and underrated. Buggy's scapegoat capabilities are very potent because he has saved Luffy a number of times with that move. Luffy evaded the slashes of Mihawk thanks to Buggy, and some could argue that it's mostly plot convenience or comedic relief. Well, I think it's awesome.
NANI?!
So now that the Marines have abolished the Shichibukai system, Marines are heading for Buggy's location. I think that Buggy is an easy catch. Anyone with Haki would know that Buggy is not all that powerful as a combatant. I think that Buggy being chased serves no real purpose for the Marines. It would be a big waste of time, especially now that they don't really have their giant unit. So the time they spend on Buggy won't be as worth it if they spent it chasing someone like Weevil, because he has hurt innocent civilians before in the process of doing whatever business he was doing. So yeah, I agree that Buggy is really there for comedic relief, but I do believe that the unexpected help for the Straw Hats is really undervalued, and to make the story more entertaining, richer, and deeper is really what I think that Buggy is there for. But really, just like his costume suggests, yes, he's obviously a clown, but figuratively, he is a joker. So I think that he is being portrayed by Oda as a wild card. A weak, funny, and interesting one at that, but he's still a wild card. And now that he's being chased by a vice admiral and his fleet, he wants to leave his men behind, and with this information, I believe that he will be joining other more notable pirates so that they could offer him some protection. I don't recall what island he's on at the moment at the time of the Reverie mini series, but I believe that the best candidates that Buggy could end up with are the Emperors. Obviously Shanks, since they've got a good history together, Blackbeard, since he's evil like that, but I do believe that this is the least likely choice for Buggy to join with, and lastly, the more unlikely, Luffy. With the war in Wano happening, it could be possible that Luffy makes Wano his base of operations. It's really the most strategic island if you ask me, because if Luffy makes this his headquarters, it's like the most naturally defended island that we've seen so far. I'm not gonna dive deep into this, but I believe that those three emperors, yes, I think of Luffy as the fifth emperor right now, or somebody that's going to replace Kaido in his seat. So these three emperors are going to be the best candidates for Buggy to join with, so that he could feel safe and protected. Now, regarding Weevil, I am most excited to see him in action out of everybody. He's the only Shichibukai that we haven't seen in battle, so there's that. I would love to see how he stacks up against Vice Admiral characters and even Admiral level characters. I do feel a bit concerned about him stumbling on Sphinx when Marco is not around. This is Whitebeard's homeland which Marco was protecting, and he was doing it before he joined the battle in Wano. So I feel like Marco had to find someone dependable to guard the place while he was away. But if he didn't and Weevil steps on that island, I'm pretty sure that Marco will find himself in a tough spot. The land looks pretty small, and even though it's hidden, it's not really looking like a thriving land. It looks like it's doing okay, but it's not exactly a rich and busy city because it's hidden. So Weevil's mom, Bakkin, might take that as a sign of rejection and do something very impulsive, like destroy the island on a whim. So that's something that Marco might come back to. Even if he had friends guard the place for him, since Weevil looks like he's strong enough to be on par with Yonko Commander level characters, I do believe that Weevil is very capable of destroying the island. I really do want to see him in action after Wano. I feel like he was introduced to the story so he could take up a pretty major role in it. Maybe not to the point that he would become a part of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, but I think he might be a kind-hearted person, and it just so happens that the most influential person in his life is Bakken. We don't even know if she is really Weevil's mom, so he might be getting used to attain power and riches just like Big Mom was. She was apparently a very nice child, freakish in nature, stubborn and a bit aggressive, but she had a gentle heart that wanted to do good things for people. It just so happens that Mother Carmel and Stroyson wanted to take advantage of her physical gifts to achieve more wealth and power. So I feel like Weevil is in the same boat as Big Mom was. But anyway, right now we know very little about Weevil and Bakken, so a bit like Buggy, he's also one of the wild cards. Currently, Weevil and Bakken are after Whitebeard's treasure, but with the abolishment of the system, I feel like Weevil would remain solo. Weevil is strong enough to do that, and obviously he was strong enough to be recruited as a Shichibukai, and yes, the pirates considered for this position only need to strike fear onto the hearts of other pirates. We all know that Buggy could just use his name and not really take part in the fight, but I'm sure that most people would agree that Weevil is genuinely strong. It just seems that Bakken is pretty manipulative and looks to be hell-bent on getting rich using the strength and loyalty of Weevil. So I highly doubt if they end up cooperating with other pirate crews. I think it's more likely for them to start their own crew rather than join with somebody. But if she does end up joining, well, the only choice I see right now would be for them to join either the Straw Hats, Blackbeard, or maybe even Crocodile, because of how Bakken's personality is. So, let's move forward on to Kuma. Yes, he's still a Shichibukai. The real body of Kuma is being used as a slave by the Celestial Dragons, which is unfortunate. Aww. But Sabo and the other officers of the Revolutionary Army came to marry Joa. And at that time, it didn't look like they were there to rescue Kuma, but Jewelry Bonnie looked like she did. Or at least she was made to look that way. We never know. Bonnie might be somehow related to Kuma because she could have been freed by him when she was in Marajoa herself, being a slave that was used to keep the celestial dragons, the Gorosei or the five elder stars, and possibly Imu. They could have been using Jewelry Bonnie to keep themselves alive with the use of her devil fruit abilities. And with her powers, she might be one of the oldest people in the One Piece verse. And Kuma, having made a deal with the world government, could have helped Jewelry Bonnie escape. Because if this wasn't the case, then I don't know what their actual connection is, why Jewelry Bonnie feels that way when she saw Kuma. So, yeah.
A few moments later.
Anyway, aside from being a bridge or a door for a lot of the major characters in the story of One Piece, we don't really know why Kuma is still alive in the story. We see him as a slave for the Celestial Dragons now, and a previous member of the Revolutionary Army, a friend to Sabo, Ivankov, obviously Dragon, and now Jewelry Bonnie. So with Sabo and Jewelry Bonnie acting the way they did, I feel like there's still a pretty sizable role for Kuma to fulfill in the story, which is why Oda is still keeping him alive, somewhat. Obviously, the Marines won't be chasing him since he's basically one of the weapons that boosted the overall combat strength of the world government. And with the whole issue that happened in Marijoa, chasing the other Shichibukai members and now the Yonko alliance in Wano, I really don't think that the world government would send troops to anywhere else than those three locations. Obviously, they would be guarding military bases, but other than that, nothing else comes to mind. And seeing how beneficial pacifistas are, I don't think that the world government has any intention of stopping their production, even with their newfound power that they were talking about. But maybe Kuma's main body could be liberated from slavery and possibly given a proper burial much later on in the story, especially if he gets too damaged by the time anyone rescues him, and it's probably gonna be the Straw Hats, Jewelry Bunny, or even the Revolutionary Army. They would surely feel indebted to him, so that's the least that they could do for Kuma. Because I highly doubt that even Vegapunk himself could reverse the effects of the operation that he himself did to Kuma. So I think this is the most likely scenario. So, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Crush like if you did, as if you were Buggy playing Among Us. And comment down below what you think about Buggy's role near the end of the One Piece story. Subscribe to the channel so it could grow and I can continue to provide you with more One Piece content. So, as always, stay safe. Peace.